your mercy sure pass. I know it's gonna last. Holy Ghost, I'm a standby. There's a miracle with my name on it. Amigo, amigo, la fest. Amigo, still I love to suffer. I love to suffer. Now your mercy sure pass. I know it's gonna last. Holy Ghost, I'm a standby. There's a miracle. There's a miracle with my name on it. Amigo,
Hello, everyone. Good evening, and welcome to day 5 of No Conference 2026. And I know yesterday we had some technical issues, and today again we're having the same thing. We are really, really sorry for starting late, number one, and number two, for making everyone waiting. It's not in our practice to start late. We really apologize for starting late. We really apologize for it. So today is day 5, and this is the first session for day 5, and it's promising to be very educative because our speaker is already in the studio and she is ready for us this evening. Before we proceed further, because we are running behind time, let us have a recap of what No Conference is all about. This No Conference is brought to you by ATQ, answering tough questions for children and teen. We're a growing community of parents, carers, trusted and safe adults with its presence on WhatsApp, Facebook, and Instagram. Our main objective is to ensure that children and teenagers get the right, correct, and appropriate answers to their questions, and to ensure that parents, carers, and safe and trusted adults are equipped to give the right answers and have meaningful conversations. This we achieve through our monthly webinar, How We Do It, where we learn and share our monthly book reviews and offering answers, suggestions, and solutions to questions sent to the community. Now, if you have not subscribed, you've not liked, you've not shared, you don't even have any of your friends or family here in No Conference 2026, please do that as soon as possible. Without wasting more time, I know Mrs. Obuku has just very few things to say before we call the speaker in. Good evening, ma. Good evening, ma.
All right, good evening, everyone. Good evening. Can I be heard?
Yes, ma, you
Can
can.
you hear me?
Yes, ma, I can.
All right, good evening, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We thank God for everything, and we are up now, and we trust Him that we won't have technical issues anymore or light issues. We are grateful to God that we're able to come up. We are having a very important conversation, helping children overcome phobia of academics. And I'm so grateful to my sister, my friend, for accepting to do this for us today. I think she was about the first mathematics teacher. Her and my younger sister are the first mathematics teachers, first people I saw that I ever saw in my life, women that liked math so dearly to make a course out of it or make a career path out of it. And I'm so grateful she's here to do this for us today. Please, everyone, if you are here to invite your friends, your neighbors, everybody you know to be a part of this, I want to encourage you to please do so. If you are here alone, yeah, that's bad, that's wrong. Just share. You know that child, one child, or that child who doesn't like school, who wakes up every day not willing to go to school, who will tell you, I hate this subject, oh, I don't like this subject, I don't like this teacher, or who is always failing a particular subject and it's becoming a thing of concern to everyone. I want to encourage you to please invite that person, talk to that person, just share the link. Be generous with the link, just share it everywhere. You need teachers to come in and listen. You need everyone that needs to be here to come and listen. She's a professional in what she does. All right, so once again, thank you all for being here. I hope you are documenting, you're writing, not just writing, you're taking home things you will put into practice after now. Thank you so much for being here. And once again, apologies for starting late. God bless you.
Amen. Thank you so much, ma. And without wasting time, let us watch this very short biography of our speaker.
Tracy Onu. Tracy Onu is a passionate mathematics educator and key stage 4 learning facilitator dedicated to helping students build confidence, critical thinking, and problem solving skills in mathematics. With experience creating engaging learning materials for secondary school learners, she's committed to making mathematics practical, relatable, and student centered. As a certified GMINDAI trainer, she integrates artificial intelligence tools into her teaching methodology to create more interactive, innovative, and personalized learning experiences. Her approach combines strong foundational teaching with emerging educational technologies to prepare students for the evolving digital world. Tracy is deeply interested in international mathematics education and is actively exploring global curricula and modern instructional practices to expand her impact as an educator. She is passionate about continuous learning, education and innovation, and empowering young minds to excel academically and beyond. Welcome Tracy Onu as she speaks on the topic, Helping Children Overcome Academic Phobia.
Thank you so much for being a part of No Conference once again. And our speaker is right here. Good evening, Ma, and how are you doing today?
I'm very well, thank you. Thank you so
All right,
much. The
Ma.
pleasure.
The stage is all yours.
All right. Good evening, everybody. Can you hear me, please? Hello.
We can.
Hello.
Yes.
All right.
Yes, we
Okay.
can hear you.
It's all right. Um, I sent my slides to Auntie Stella. I want to believe she has them with her.
It will be
Um,
projected. Yes, it will.
okay. All right.
Yes.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure being here. I want to thank Auntie Stella and her team. It's an opportunity for me to actually do what I love doing. This is what I love doing. Yes. Now, before we proceed, I would like you to take a minute, you shut your eyes and think of that child you know that has been kept back because of phobia. It could be your child, it could be a student in your class, it could be a neighbor that was bright, was confident, but over time withdrew into his or her shell. Now, having done that, I want you to open your eyes and then I want to tell you the story of Mia. So, if you're with my slides, let's just delve strictly into the story of Mia without wasting much time. Think on that's the third slide. The third slide. It's on the third slide. Are we together? Oh,
Yes,
thank
Ma,
you.
we are working on it. Sorry, we're working on
Okay,
it.
so let me just proceed while you get it settled. Now, we are talking basically on helping children overcome academic phobia. Helping children overcome academic phobia. And like I said earlier, I'd like us to begin with a story of a girl called Mia. Not her actual name, but her name for this purpose. She's in grade 9. She's the top of her class in grade 2. Amazingly, by grade 4, she refused to go to school. Why? Every night, Mia begins to complain of stomach aches every night. You know, amazingly, when she comes back from school, at about 3 p.m., she's fine. Okay, she's fine. But at night, just before the next morning, Mia begins to complain of stomach ache. She begins to cry. She gets so tensed up. She begins to ask herself, I am stupid. I can't be good at anything. And I'd like you to know that this girl, Mia, did not actually have a learning disability. Rather, she had what we call academic phobia. Now, this brings us to our fourth slide. The team is working on it, but I'll proceed. Now, on that slide, you'll see it's titled What is academic phobia? What is academic phobia? How would you define academic? How would you want to define academic phobia? Now let's define it based on the terms there. Academic phobia is an intense, persistent, and irrational fear of academic activities, environments, or evaluation that significantly disrupts a child's ability to learn, perform, and thrive. I'll repeat that again. I said academic phobia is an intense, persistent, and irrational fear of academic activities, environments, or evaluation that significantly disrupts a child's ability to learn, perform, and thrive. Now, you will see that it's not just tailored to one particular subject, but rather it's been grouped under academic activities, environment, or evaluation. Now, think of it this way. By academic activities, what do we mean? Any task the child is exposed to. It could be homework, it could be, a class work, possibly on sheets, it could be a group work, whatever it is, but any activity, learning activity the child is exposed to. Now, the next word is environment. The environment is also affected. The environmental conditions there pose what? That threat, that academic phobia the child is experiencing. It could be evaluation. Of course, we evaluate children through assessments, through tests, possibly orally. But any of that, as long as it significantly disrupts or affects that child's ability to learn, perform, and thrive, it is referred to as academic phobia. Now, more than nervousness, it's a phobic response. The body and mind work together, so the body responds. The body responds to what it has experienced. It affects behavior, emotions, body, and thinking. It is not laziness. Unfortunately, most parents refer to it as laziness. You hear a parent tell a child, "You are lazy. You're not good at it." But however, it's beyond that. It's not laziness, it's not defiance. Sometimes you see the child is stubborn, the child is resistant. It's not that. Neither is it low intelligence. It is a learnable, treatable condition. That's the joy and that's the beauty in it. It's a learnable, it's a teachable condition. However, what makes it a little bit unique is the fact that, unlike other phobias, other phobic responses we have or we experience, when you have phobia for heights, for instance, what do? You avoid it, right? Beautiful. What if when you have phobia for a large body of water, what do? You avoid it. Unfortunately, how will the child avoid school when he or she is already experiencing what we call academic phobia? That's how serious it is. But the joy is there is a cure to it. Hello? Are my slides getting ready? Hello? Hello, Auntie Stella?
Please check private chat. You may need to send it again. I didn't receive it.
Really? It's not there? Wow.
Send again.
Do I take some minutes to resend it? How do I do that? Do I?
So now let your testimony go enter. No need to back down, you are there, your matter. All things are working, tomorrow will be better. Give him the praise now, there's a miracle with your name on it. Hey. There's a miracle, there's a miracle, there's a miracle with my name on it. There's a miracle, there's a miracle, there's a miracle with my name on it. Jesus, a miracle, there's a miracle. I can There's a miracle with your name on it. Hey. There's a miracle. There's a miracle. There's a miracle with my name on it. There's a miracle. There's a miracle. There's a miracle with my name on it. There's a miracle. There's a miracle. I can feel it. There's a miracle. I can see it. There's a miracle with my name on it. There's a miracle. There's a miracle. There's a miracle with my name on it. Now me go laugh first. Now me go still laugh last. I know go suffer. Now your mercy sure pass. I know feet gon' last. Holy Ghost now must stand by. There's a miracle with my name on it. Amigo laugh first. Amigo still laugh. I know go suffer. I know go suffer. Hey. Now your mercy sure pass. I know feet gon' last. Holy Ghost now must stand by. There's a miracle. There's a miracle with my name on it. Amigo. So now let your testimony go enter. No need to back down. You are there, your matter. All things are working. Tomorrow will be better. Give him the praise now. There's a miracle with your name on it. Hey.
Hello, ma.
Yes, hello.
Yeah, we're working on
Yes.
the slide now. Just continue. It will be projected soon.
All right. It's okay. Thank you so much. Sorry
You're welcome.
for
All
the.
right, ma.
All right. We'll go right into what we're talking about. Now, we'll be talking about recognizing the warning sign. Recognizing the warning sign.
Hello, ma. Sorry.
Yes.
Ma, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
I think your video is switched off.
Oh, my video.
Yes, ma.
It's sorry.
We can't see you.
That's strange because here there's no bar. It's you see now it's blocked, right?
No, it isn't.
What of now? Can you see me?
No, I can't.
What's happening? Fine. How is it now?
No, not yet.
Let me go in and come out again.
All right, ma. We are sorry for the technical issues.
So now let your testimony go enter. No need to back down. You are there, your matter. All things are working. Tomorrow will be better. Give him the praise now. There's a miracle with your name on it. Hey. There's a miracle. There's a miracle. There's a miracle with my name on it. There's a miracle. There's a miracle. There's a miracle with my name on it. There's a miracle. There's a miracle. I can feel it. There's a miracle. I can see it. There's a miracle with my name on it. There's a miracle. There's a miracle. There's a miracle with my name on it. Amigo.
All right. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. And sorry for that timeout. All right, now we'll go to what we have been talking about. Don't forget where we're coming from. Looked at the story of Noah, went further of what academic phobia is. And right now we're kicking right into recognize the warning sign. I repeat it, recognizing the warning signs. Now, you don't get children, you don't get them say, oh, I have academic failure. Oh, I am this, I am that. Not at all. But we read into the lines. Sorry, I can only hear my echo. Hello? Hello?
We can hear you. We
I
can
can
hear
hear
you.
my voice is echoing. Fine.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
Please
I can.
proceed. Please
Okay,
proceed.
it's all right. All right, fine. Now we have some signs, we have physical signs, we have emotional signs, we have behavioral signs, and we have academic signs as well. Parents often think that the child is faking it. Ah, I'm having tummy ache. The parent feels, ah, this child is faking it. This child is just coming up with excuses. This child possibly doesn't want to be in school. But however, you must know that the body and the mind are deeply connected. The body genuinely produces these symptoms in response to fear. Why? Because there's a connection between the mind and the body. They flow together. Now let's get started with the physical signs. You see on my slides, if you can have access to it, you see we have physical signs. We have stomach aches, headaches, sweating, trembling. The child feels nauseated, sleep disturbances, sometimes bedwetting, yes, fatigue without any physical cause. And the parent is wondering, what is wrong with this child? It's only giving you a sign that the child is going through what is called, excuse me, academic phobia. Academic phobia. Excuse me. Now, the next is emotional, excessive crying, melts down. It's as if his world is shut completely. Feelings of worthlessness. He feels, excuse me, the child feels, what's wrong with me? He feels he's not able to meet up to his or her mates. He feels left out. He or she feels in the dark. Sometimes they experience panic attacks. Sorry, excuse me. And by panic attacks, we mean sudden fear, sudden anxiety. The child just feels tensed. And as a parent, you're wondering, there's nothing wrong. What is causing this? But it just, goes into panic attacks that are unexplained. Sometimes extreme sensitivity to criticism. The child is often criticized. And because of that, what happens? He experiences an emotional breakdown. Now, these are the emotional signs. What of the behavioral signs? School refusal or truancy. The child refuses to go to school. And there you are, getting the cane, wanting to get at the child. You must go to school today. You have no right to remain in school. Hello. You should know that the child is undergoing another experience entirely that needs your care, that needs my care, that needs our collective effort. Aggression or shutting down. When a child shuts down completely, the whole brain work is gone. He or she cannot concentrate. He cannot even remember anything he's been taught. He or she has been taught. And then seeking constant reassurance. The child begins to seek reassurances constantly. He wants to be reassured of one thing or the other. Now, what of the academics? Don't forget, we've talked about the physical signs. We've talked about the emotional signs. We have also mentioned the behavioral signs. Now, let's look at the academic signs. Blank out during class. The brain shuts down, completely blank, doesn't even know what the teacher is talking about, cannot even recollect anything. It's just they doesn't even know what he's even there doing, most likely. Why? Because there is what? These are signs that the child is going through what we call academic phobia. Underperformance versus known ability. The child underperforms. And there you are, the teacher is wondering, the parent is wondering, I know this child's capability. I know what he or she is able and capable of delivering. Unfortunately, you can't get all of that now because the child has done what has been overtaken by academic phobia. The child refuses new task. He doesn't want to be engaged. He doesn't want to be involved and engaged in any form of collaborative work whatsoever. He or she just wants to be to himself or herself. And then what happens? The child gives up. If you are seeing three or more of these signs consistently, that child needs support, not stricter rules. Hello, parents, are we together? This this um this conference is for teachers, significant adults, parents, school owners. Yes, it's very necessary. We see a lot of this all around us, but most times, if we are not well kitted with the tools, we cannot help these children. So I'd like you to pause for a moment and find out which of these have you observed a child, exhibit recently. Pause just for a moment and you will discover that some of these things are what these children experience, which parents have not been able to harness. Now, the next is, where does academic phobia come from? There's a root cause. There is a root cause. Unfortunately, if I had known, I would have sent my slides earlier. From my slides, you can see at the center, we have what we call root cause. Yes, root cause. And this root cause is linked. It's just like a diagram with a circle at the middle with strings. We have a string. Just imagine a string from the root cause being attached to perfectionism or high expectation. We have another string being attached to negative past experiences. We have another string attached to harsh criticism or comparison. We have another string attached to learning disabilities that have been undiagnosed. We have another string attached to anxiety or mental health. And we have another string attached to pressure from parents or culture. Now, let's begin with the first string that is attached to what? To the root cause, and that is perfectionism and high expectations. Parents, can you hear me? Perfectionism or high expectations. Parents, significant adults, school owners, and every viewer, I'd like you to know it's not wrong to have high expectations. We do have high expectations for our children, and of course, it's not wrong, but we need to be careful. Yes, I repeat, we must be careful with our expectations. We must be careful with the expectations we have for our children. They are young, they are growing up, they are developing. We have developed to some point where we can accommodate and take some things. But mind you, they are still at their developmental stages. Yes, they are still developing. So we must be very careful. Sometimes we exhibit perfectionism. We want know this is who I was at my secondary school days. I was very good, very intelligent and brilliant. You must have same intelligence. You must exhibit same. Why? You want to see the child perfect. You have high expectations for that child. Can I inform you that that is a root cause? Yes, that is a root cause of phobia. We're looking at where is it coming from. That's one cause. Now, another string is attached to negative past experiences. This child has been through some negative experiences in the past, possibly in the school, okay? He or she being unable to meet up to a task, and the teacher refers to him as being lazy. You don't know anything. Every time I give a task, you don't participate. You don't give me what I want. The child has, the child remembered situations where he or she had to fail a test. So that child has experienced failure of some kind. That in itself is what another root cause. So all those experiences playing up in the child of the mind builds this phobia for what? For his or her academics. Now, I'd like you to know that academic phobia is not tied to maths alone. I'm a mathematics educator, yes, fine. But when we're talking about academic phobia, we're not just referring to specific subjects now. Take note. We're looking at it holistically. It could be any subject, yes, but we're looking at it holistically so that we can identify, we can look at these things and how to help out. Now, the next is harsh criticism or comparison. Look at Ada. Ada is far better than you. Ada is not like this. Why can't you be like Ada? You are criticizing the child and you are comparing the child. That's a root cause. Learning disabilities. What are learning disabilities? If you are with me, can you just write a K in the comment section? Hello? Can you just put a K in the comment section so that I'll know I'm not talking to myself? Hello? Oh, beautiful. Hello? All right. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. That's beautiful. I know I'm not alone. Thank you so much for that. All right. What are learning disabilities? By learning disabilities, we mean that a learning disability is a condition. It's a condition the child experiences that affects his or her ability to learn skills. Yes, it affects that child's ability to learn skills. When we say learn skills, we mean skills. It could be reading skills, it could be writing skills, it could be doing math, it could be handwriting, whatever it is. But it disrupts his or her ability to learn those skills. Now, let's talk about some examples of learning disabilities. We have dyslexia, where the child, is experiences difficulty with reading and writing. Dyscalculia, the child cannot do math. He has issues with numbers. Anytime he sees numbers, he's completely put off. Is it dysgraphia, where the child has issues with what? His or her handwriting. And then, of course, we know ADHD, where we talk about the this disorder that affects impulse. It affects the child's movement. Not movement, but it's a disorder, hyperactivity disorder that completely affects the child. We have seen children with that. This is another aspect. Now, this is grouped under learning disabilities that have been undiagnosed. That's to say, they have not been, no, a physician has not actually gone through, has not run a couple of tests on that child to be able to come to terms based on the results, based on the finding that the child has those conditions. That in itself could be another root cause. And then the next is anxiety or mental health factors. Anxiety, so anxious, anxiety. Anything academics just, makes him so anxious. So it puts him into a state of unrest and he's unable to give his best. And then the last is pressure from family or culture. Pressure from family or culture. What do we mean by that? Lovely family, beautiful family, where you have members of the family that, are high achievers. Yes, let me use that word. They are high achievers. The family is known for, for high performance. The family is known to have achieved this and have achieved that. And of course, that in itself limits the child, because it's like a liability on the child. My family is known for this. I can't be left behind. I can't be different. That in itself could be a root cause. So when we're looking at where this academic phobia is coming from, all of these strings that have been outlined serve as root causes to where it is coming from. Now, in almost every case, the cause is outside the child's control. They didn't choose this, so they need our help. Yes, they never chose it. They didn't do anything to deserve it. So they need our help. Now we'll go next straight to the cost of unaddressed academic phobia. The cost of unaddressed academic phobia. We have short-term effects and we have long-term effects. For the short-term effects, we have declining grades. Despite effort, you have put in so much into this child, yet you can't understand the grades are declining, not because he's less intelligent, but don't forget that anxiety impairs memory retrieval. I repeat, anxiety of whatever kind, you will agree with me, it impairs what? Memory retrieval. The next is social withdrawal from classmates. Yes, that's the cause of unaddressed academic phobia. The child is withdrawn. He can't even mingle with his mates. He's left alone, just on his own. Damaged relationships, damaged relationship with learning. Learning relationship is damaged, of course. When the anxiety impairs memory, can you tell me what's left to learn? Of course, there's nothing left to learn because that's already been impaired. Increased parent-child conflict. Why? Unaddressed academic phobia. Unaddressed. It has not been addressed. So there's this conflict. Yes, I spent so much on you. I expect this. You can't do that and you can't do this. Increased parent-child conflict. Loss of intrinsic motivation. Now, when we talk about intrinsic motivation, we mean the motivation that comes from within. It comes from within you. It's not attributed to any external factor. No. The child comes up, this is what I want to be. This is the goal I have. This is what I want to achieve. And then by himself or herself, they come up with what they want for themselves and they work towards that. But now we have a situation where there's a loss of intrinsic motivation because there's nothing propelling him or her from within to learn. Cost of what? Unaddressed academic phobia. Now, the long-term effects, school dropout and unachievement. Now, research has shown that academic phobia left unaddressed doubles the risk of school dropout by age 10. By the time the child is approaching JS3, SS1, if you're not careful, the child can easily drop out. Why? Because the academic phobia has gone unaddressed. Chronic anxiety into adulthood, yes, it makes the child go into what? Intense anxiety as the child develops, as the child grows. Limited career opportunities, that's the next long-term effect. Limited academic opportunities, limited career opportunities. What do I mean by that? Here is a child battling with math, science, for instance, and the child now comes to terms by himself or herself that, I'm not good at maths. No. I'm not good at maths. I'm not good at sciences. So I can't opt for this course. I can't offer this. I can't go into this field. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yes. Excuse me. Thank you so much, Auntie Stella and team. Yes, you can see we have avoidance of long-term learning. That's the next. Okay, I talked about limited career opportunities. The next is poor self-image and low confidence. The child experiences what? Poor self-image, doesn't have a good esteem of himself. There's no confidence. He feels inferior. At the low confidence sets in. Why? Because the academic phobia has gone unaddressed. And then, of course, we have avoidance of lifelong learning. When that lifelong learning is being avoided, what do you think will be the end result of that child? You and I know what that means. That's why we must stand up to fight it. Thank you so much. So we'll move straight to the next slide. Yes. Now, understanding the neuroscience completely changes how we respond to children. Now, let me take you through the brain. This is the brain. We have what we call the amygdala. We have what we call the hippocampus. And we have the prefrontal cortex. The prefrontal cortex. The prefrontal cortex. That's the third one. Now, the amygdala, that's the first one. When a child with academic phobia sits down for a test, their brain processes this as a threat. Literally it processes as a threat. The same system as if a lion walked in. This makes me, there was a clip I watched a couple of weeks ago. This young man was on a field and he was being pursued by a horse on the field. And the amazing thing that caught the attention of viewers, as a result of that, he took a giant leap. He leaped and jumped with all of his strength, and he was able to jump, In fact, the height he covered was amazing. Ordinarily, that man or that young man would definitely be unable to cover that height. But why? Something inside him was triggered. he responded. He responded to what? To the threat he faced. That's what happens in the brain. So now the first one is the amygdala. This is what we call the alarm, the fear alarm. It fires first. Bam! When there's a threat, the brain gives an alarm very fast, faster than rational thoughts. Yes, it's so fast, very fast. Boom. Just like how the body responds. I'm sure we're all familiar with the adrenaline in our system. You know how it pumps messages to the heart, the blood, and all that, giving them what? Survival skills, how they can survive that threat they are being posed with. So you see that in the child of a brain that is undergoing academic phobia, rather than focusing on learning, the child is focusing on surviving through it. You can see two extreme ends. Rather than focusing on learning, he's focusing on how to survive through it. Yes, he's focusing on how to survive through it. The next is the hippocampus. This is where the memory work is done. This is where the memory work is done. We have temporary memory, we have the working memory, we have permanent memory. And of course, it proceeds. Yes. When it's stored, basically, from the working memory, is later sieved into the permanent memory. It just gets stored. And of course, after undergoing processes. So now this hippocampus, it gets suppressed. Why? Because the memory is what? Is jammed. The memory is filled. The memory it can't concentrate again. Yes, so it is suppressed. So you can see that the hippocampus is what? Is affected. And then the next is the prefrontal cortex. The prefrontal cortex. That's another aspect of the brain that basically handles problem solving. It handles critical thinking skills. It handles calculations and all of that. The prefrontal cortex is affected. You see, thinking and reasoning gets what? It gets offline, completely lost, blank, unable to deliver what it has stored, unable to. Now you see the slide. The first one, when the child perceives academic threat, what happens? Those threats as a result of tests, criticism, comparison, environmental factors, and all of that. The child perceives this threat first. And what happens? Bam! The amygdala is triggered. You can see we have the fight, we have the flight, and we have the freeze response. The fight, the flight, and freeze response. What do we mean by that? As the child is undergoing the threat, what comes? The first thing is to fight. He wants to fight back. He's angry. He gets so aggressive. What's going on? The amygdala is triggering it. It's been triggered by the amygdala. It triggers it. He puts up a cold front, an angry look. He wants to fight back. The next is the flight. What happens in the flight mode? He's off. He's off. Doesn't want to go to school. Any available alternative or option to get out of school, he opts for it. And then the next is the freeze. Everything freezes. The brain shuts down. The thinking faculties goes on. The prefrontal cortex cannot be activated, all because of this academic phobia we're talking about. Now, the cortisol and the adrenaline floods the system. You see, why is it flooding the system? It's flooding the system to put up survival for the child. Just like when you're in an environment and you're faced with a lion one-on-one, what do? In fact, what you are enabled to do, you'll be amazed that you find yourself doing what ordinarily you'll be unable to do. Like I talked about that young man. Excuse me, that's what happens. So the cortisol and adrenaline floods the body system of the child. What happens? Giving him survival skills, how to survive that threat period, not how to learn. So you can see it's off already. And then the prefrontal cortex goes offline completely, like I said. It becomes blank. Learning becomes impossible at this stage. The child is labeled a lazy person. Yes, that's the next thing we hear. He's lazy. He's not trying. He's this and he's that. When we respond with frustration or punishment, we confirm the threat. When we respond with frustration or punishment, we confirm the threat. The brain learns, dangers, phobia deepens. So the fifth safety first is always what comes first. Did this change how you have been thinking about a child's behavior? Drop a comment in the session if that did. If this is giving you another look, please drop a comment in the session. Now we'll go to the next slide, please. Can we move on to the next slide? Thank you so much. This is the reflection moment. Think about the child you know right now. What might their behavior actually be communicating to you? And then without wasting time, we move straight to the next slide. Now, what it feels like. What does it feel like to be that child? Let's take a little step into the shoes of the child with what academic phobia. These are real quotes from real children. Yes, I try so hard, but I always get it wrong. Everyone else understands except me. Why? If I fail this test, they know I'm stupid. Oh, my tummy hurts. I really don't want to go. No matter how much I study, it never gets enough. I wish I could disappear when the teacher asks. Children don't have the language for phobia. They show us with their bodies and behavior. Yes, they show us with their body and behavior. The next slide, please. Thank you so much. The parents' heartbreak. The parents' heartbreak. What parents feel? I try so hard. I'm paying the child's school fee. I spend so much time on tutoring for the child. Is this what I get back? Am I a bad parenting? Have I lost it in my parenting skills? What have I done wrong? I'd like you to know that you are not a bad parent. You're facing something you weren't trained to handle. Yes, you're only facing something you weren't trained to handle. But of course, that does not make you a bad parent. Parents feel confused. Excuse me. Why won't they just try? And if you look at the next thing a parent can do, you validate emotions before solutions. Work on your emotions. It's only when we work on our emotions that we can come up with a solution. If you get confused and begin to ask yourself so many questions, how can the solution come up? Of course, we'll be lost. So you must handle emotions. You must come to terms that this is a problem that must be solved. You must come to terms that this is something that needs your time, that needs your input, that needs you, going into it with every iota of your being. Why? Because you need a solution to it. You're frustrated. We spend so much on tuition. Yes, I'm sorry about that. We actually spend so much on tuition, but what happens? Of course, we can't allow that pull us down. You have to separate the child from the grade, from his or her grade. You must separate the child from their grade. Yes. The most powerful shift is to validate before you solve. That sounds really hard, but we must do that. Now, you share your own feelings. The next is create a safe space to talk at home. We must share our own stories to this child. We have to. Sometimes we need you telling them where you got wrong, how you were able to survive, how you were able to pull through. Why are you doing that? We have to let these children know and see that failure is part of learning. We must let them know that failure is part of learning. It's not an end in itself, rather it's a means to something. So that they have experienced that doesn't mean that they will be stuck in it. So when you experience so much guilt, did I put too much pressure? Create a safe place, a safe space to talk about it. Fearful. We're so scared as parents. What will become of them? I've been going through this problem for possibly years now. What will become of them? Please work with the school, not against it. Sometimes we find ourselves blaming the schools. We blame them. How do we handle this? Please, let's learn to work. We must work with the school. We must work with the school, not against it. When we work with the school, we'll discover that we will get what? Solutions to whatever we're going through. Isolated. Other kids, other kids seem fine. Other kids, yeah, they seem fine. This one is isolated. Different things come up to yourself. But you know what? Like I said earlier, when you model your failure stories, the child is helped. The next is hopelessness. Nothing we try works. My dear parents, my dear significant adults, school owners, teachers, viewers, let us seek professional support early. A stitch in time, they say, saves nine. So when we seek the support early, I want to assure you that we will get what solution. Let's move ahead to the next slide. Thank you. And the next slide now, this brings us to the teacher's dilemma. We have talked about the parents. Now, this is the teacher's dilemma. You are complaining. The parent is frustrated. The parent is discouraged. And here's the teacher in his or her own dilemma as well. What do we mean by that? Here's a teacher. Excuse me. Here's a teacher that has 30 students to himself. One teacher, many needs. Phobic students can be invisible. Did you realize that? Yes. Imagine just one teacher amidst 30 students. You will agree with me that phobic student will definitely be invisible, except I repeat, except the teacher is extraordinary. Excuse me, permit me to say that. Extraordinary in the sense that he or she has the ability to work with that particular number of children and actually, pick out students that have these issues. Curriculum pressure. This is a teacher's dilemma. Yes, he has a scheme to cover. He has curriculum to cover. How will he be able to meet the need of this child? He's expected to cover content, not always to hear fear. Where is the time to hear fear when he or she is, is being is being is being drowned in the fact that he needs to cover his or her contents, misreading signals. The teacher begins to misread signals. Defiance, yes, versus fear. He now says, this child is stubborn. Meanwhile, it is fear at work. It's not that the child is stubborn. It's not that the child loves to be disobedient. Rather, it is fear at work. Now, limited training. Most teachers never receive training on anxiety or phobia or phobic responses. That's the truth. Most teachers don't, especially in our African setting and precisely in the Nigerian setting. You find out that just few teachers are trained. Just few teachers are trained on skills, yes. Acquisition of skills that can actually help these children fight this academic phobia. So what teachers can do, they can use low stakes formative assessment. Yes. In bits, you keep assessing the child. In bits, you keep assessing the child. Low stakes, you make it, don't make it so high. Just come to the child's level, work at the child's pace, and see how you can come up with assessments. You celebrate efforts, not just the outcome. Yes, when I teach my students, most of them are excited to see the end result. But I let them know that I am much more interested in your process. Because the answer in itself possibly just takes maybe 1 or half marks. Yes, that's all. But the process is usually what carries huge marks. So let's celebrate the effort, not just the outcome. The steps, the little steps the child has put, let's learn to celebrate it. Never embarrass a child publicly. Please, parents, teachers, school owners. They feel it. Yes, they feel it. Let's try as much as we can. No matter how discouraged we feel, no matter how angry we feel, we must never embarrass these children publicly. That's another way we can help them. Let's create private check-in system. Yes, you know yourself, your students, you know the students in your class. How can you check on them privately? You deduce systems that works for you. It could be during a class, it could be during a task. Just figure out which works for you, and then you come, you check. Yes, privately. You check this child to see how far he or she is coping and what he's doing at that time, and then you can now come up with your help. And then you differentiate test environments. Well, I don't know if our school system offers that. This test has a way of informing the child of these threats we talked about earlier. Yes, when the child is faced with tests, sometimes they get what? Off balance. So if we can come up with a way of differentiating this test environment so that the child can be relaxed. So we'll move to the next slide. Please, when I have about 20 minutes left, Auntie Stella and team, can you let me know, please? Thank you. Are we together, please?
Okay, ma'am. Yes,
All right,
ma'am.
thank you. All right. So the next is building fear-free learning environments. Building fear-free learning environments, the culture, the systems, and the practices. The culture, we have psychological safety as a school value. All of this has to do with the school, the culture that the school faces. The culture, the psychological safety is not just a feeling, it's a measurable condition. Students must believe try won't get me humiliated. Mistakes are welcome. This culture must be actively built. It must be actively built in any school system. Yes, because that will help them. So, all right. So the next is anti-shame, pro-growth, and culture. All of this is what the school faces. Now, stop ranking students publicly. Portfolio-based assessment options. You de-emphasize comparison. Do not emphasize comparison. We've talked about that. We must do what? We must put that away. We must look for visible emotional support systems. And how can we do that? When we avoid comparison, we see that what? We can build fear-free learning environment. Now, for the systems, early identification protocols. Some children are extraordinary thinkers but terrible test takers. Our system should be able to see them. Yes, our system should be able to see them. When we put protocols in place, when we identify these things early enough and we put measures in place, we're able to do what? Build a fear-free system. Teacher well-being programs, we have talked about that. Yes, we enlighten the children. The system should be such that enlightens the teacher, builds them up to be able to do what? To face all of this. And then counselor access for all students. I don't know if schools run this. I know a couple of schools don't actually have that because they feel it's not necessary. But I like to inform you that it's very necessary. That's why we have students who have studied guidance and counseling. And it's a skill right now. It's a top skill, yes. Your ability to counsel a child right with your patience, with the training you have acquired, you should be able to what? Bring the child to terms that the child can do better. That way you are building what? A fear-free learning environment. And then we move straight to the practices. What are these practices? Portfolio-based assessment options, like I said, de-emphasize ranking and comparison, parent-school partnership models. We have talked about all of these processes. When built into the system, when put in place, will help the child build fear-free learning environment. So institutional change is how we protect the most vulnerable children at scale. I repeat, you can see my down notes, the notes at the bottom. Institutional change is how we protect the most vulnerable children at scale. When the institution changes, when the system that is being run in the school changes, when a lot of things have been put in place such that the culture of the school aligns with the systems of the school, and that itself aligns to the practices that are being offered in the school, you will see that even the most vulnerable children will be well protected. We'll move straight. Technology as an anxiety equalizer. Technology as an anxiety equalizer. Technology is not a replacement for human connection, but it removes friction that creates phobia. It's not a replacement. It removes what? Friction that creates phobia. So for AI tutors, never judge, never sigh, Never show disappointment. You can ask the same question 20 times, the same response every time. For a child afraid of looking stupid in front of humans, it is what? Revolutionary. Yes. Non judgmental, infinitely patient, practice partners, no embarrassment, no comparison. If we can, build in AI tutors to help with this child. The child now is not faced with any form of comparison or judgmental feelings. No, not at all. But rather, working on how to build the child, no embarrassment. So the child is free. The child is free to do what? To learn. Adoptive learning. Adoptive learning. These are just difficulty in real time, keeping children challenged enough to grow, supported enough to succeed. So platforms that are just difficult in in real time, keeping children in learning zone. You know what I mean by learning zone? We have learning zones and we have unlearning zone. Yes. So when the child is in an adaptive learning environment that
Sorry, ma.
triggers his, yes, please.
You have 10 minutes more.
Really?
Yes, ma.
All
Yeah.
right. Okay. In that case, let me just move on. Okay, please let's move to the next slide. 7 things adults do that make it worse. We have said that, so let me not hover around over it again. You're not being lazy, comparing siblings and all that. These are things that adults do that we must avoid to do what? So that it doesn't worsen the situation. The next slide, please. From school refusal, from school refusal to school captain, from school refusal to school captain. Yeah, this is the story of James at 13. Before at grade 9, he was panic stricken. Yes, exams, missing 2 days at a week. He was diagnosed with what? Academic anxiety. Parents were desperate, teachers were confused. And here was the intervention that was given. There was a 12-week program. He had a therapy. Yes, he had a therapy that worked on him, low stakes assessments that we've talked about, teacher training, weekly support, weekly parental counselor sessions, mindfulness at school. All of these helped. This intervention program that was given helped the child. And then after it, you can see from at grade 10, he experienced 85% attendance. B was his average score. And eventually he was what? Elected. Can you put your hands together for this intervention? Hello? Hello? Are you not excited? Are we excited, please? Yes. It's really, it's encouraging to see that after an intervention, the child did what? The child did better. So let's move to the next slide. Evidence-based intervention strategies. We talked about the CBT, and that is what? The cognitive behavioral therapy. This identifies and reframes the catastrophic thoughts, the driving fear, the most evidence-based approach. Yes. When we say cognitive, of course, we know as teachers, we have the cognitive aspect that has to do with the brain, the coordination of the child, the ability of the child to reason, to think, to understand. Yes. So the cognitive behavioral therapy helps the child to do away with those thoughts, with those driving fear, and then it makes something, surge up in the child that can help the child. And then we have the gradual exposure therapy. Gradually, slowly and safely increasing exposure to feared academic situations to reduce the fear response. You can't just take it away completely. But this time around, the therapy is such that it is done slowly and safely, and you keep increasing it gradually. It's not just full blown. It is increased gradually. The exposure is gradually so that the child comes face to face with terms and is able to overcome it. We have the mindfulness and breathing techniques. This activates the parasympathetic systems. Box breathing. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Grounding. Practical tools children can use. You breathe in, taking a deep breath, and then you breathe out. Taking a deep breath, and then you breathe out. You are mindful. You are mindful and you're thoughtful of this. That in itself eases and relaxes the child. We have the growth mindset intervention. Now, this is a scholar. His research brought up this, that teaching children that intelligence is developed, not fixed. This reduces fear of failure. Intelligence is developed, that you had all A's during your time, that you are the best, that it's a genetic thing in your family. You are doing well, your parents are doing well. It doesn't mean your child should follow that. So when you are thoughtful and the child comes to terms with the fact that intelligence is developed, it's not fixed. It can be developed. He can undergo growth. This reduces fear maximally. Yes. And then safe error environments, classrooms, homes where mistakes are normalized, even celebrated as proof of learning, creating safe environments in the classroom and home. Mistakes are minimized. Yes. Mistakes are normalized. The child doesn't feel, I've done, something so grievous. No, rather it's what it feels normalized a little. Why? So that the child can relax. And then we have the strength-based approach. This identifies and amplifies what the child is good at, building a confidence platform from which to approach challenges. Let the child know he has strength. Yes, that's why we call it strength-based approach. The child may not be good academically, but here's a child, that comes up. In my class, I have a child that is not good. I must say that. We've been working on to see how I can help him, but he's coming up. He doesn't grasp information fast. But do you know one amazing thing? I admire this boy. He's the first to volunteer to pray. He's the first to actually volunteer to take care of, the juniors, to facilitate them, to control them. You can imagine. Meanwhile, academically, he's weak. But can you see how we are helping him with his strength? Because we know that that's a skill in itself. Let's move to the next. Building academic confidence. We have the 5 pillars of a confident learner. Safety, when he feels safe. When he feels safe, the environment is safe. He feels, relaxed. Next is belonging. You can see it's a ladder that has steps. It keeps taking you to the top. You feel the child has some sense of belonging. Yes, he feels he's relaxed. He feels he now belongs to this system. He's part of it. The next is competence. This helps him build competence. Yes, in skills and areas that he has been lagging behind, gradually you see that competence is being built and he becomes good at something, And then autonomy. Yes, he feels in charge. He is now what? In charge of it by himself. On his own, he's able to handle it. And next, it gives the child purpose. He has purpose. He believes in himself. He knows that he has been able to come to terms with the fact that he has gone through all of this, but yet, with the purpose of mind, he has been able to achieve what he has on mind. Let's move to the next slide. Possibly I have 3 minutes left. The girl who grew her voice, I wouldn't go into that. This is Priya's story. I have 5 more minutes, but just letting us know that, these are real life situations of children that have been through issues. They have been through this and they came out strong. I just needed to feel safe first. Look at Priya's thoughts at the bottom. She said, I just needed to feel safe first. That was what Priya needed to shine forth. So let's go next to our slide. Building a long-term support ecosystem. When we talk about an ecosystem, is a body of systems together at work, not just one system, but a couple of things being put together. Can you see the child at the center? The child at the center is surrounded by a loving family that does not criticize him or her, but lovingly does what brings the child to understand what he's going through, brings the child to know that he's not alone in it, brings the child to appreciate his or her strength. The child feels covered. He feels loved. The school and the peers at itself, they work together, see how they can help the child. Like we have talked about the school community, and the peers coming together. And then, of course, we have the community and the society. I must let you know that the community and society, this has to do with some awareness. If there's no awareness, the society, the community cannot be carried along. And then let's move to what you will do this week. For parents, this week, have a 10 minutes no grade conversation with your child about what they love learning. This month, separate your child's worth from the academic results. Please do that loud. Yes. Long term, build your family's tolerance of mistakes, starting with yours. Identify your mistakes, let the child know he's not alone, and the child feels covered. For teachers, this week we must identify 2, 3 students who may be showing phobia signs. We must observe with eyes. This month, we must introduce one low-stake formative assessment routine. Yes, and then at the long term, we attend professional development or anxiety-informed teaching sessions. Why? So that we can be well grounded in it. And then for school leaders, this week, put academic anxiety as your next staff meeting agenda. This month, we have what you can do, review assessments. And for counselors, this week, you create or update your early identification screening tools. This month, run a parent information session on academic anxiety, and the long term is to build partnerships with what? External child psychologists for referrals. Every child deserves a chance, a chance to love learning. Every child. The next slide, please. Yes, thank you. Every child deserves a chance to love learning. You are the variable that changes everything. You have the knowledge. You now have the knowledge. You now have the language. You now have the tools. The only question left is, what will you do with them? Will you drop them on the table, or you run with them? Fear is not the enemy of learning. It is not the enemy of learning. Rather, unchallenged fear is. But with the right people around them, every child can learn to be brave. Yes, fear is not the enemy of learning, but rather unchallenged fear is. But with the right people around them, every child can love to learn. I'll pause here and I'll end. Just give me 2 minutes to round up with this statement. I'd like you to know that every child around us can excel. Thank God for the No conference. It's a faith-based conference. Yes, we're learning. The other time we learned about prayerful parents. We learned about how parents can be guided by the Spirit of God to know what's happening to their children. I, for one, I love to share my story. I had a daughter that was in the sciences, and we kept pushing her because, of course, we know that sciences had more chances. It has a lot of it has, it's a large stream of opportunities, and we all know that. So most times we try to encourage children in that field. But we noticed she wasn't doing well. At SS1, she was low. We encouraged. By SS2, when we discovered it, we had to call her and we made her understand that, look, excelling in life is not entirely tied to the sciences. Would you like to have a rethink? Can you change your field? We gave her time to think about it, to prayerfully look into it. And at the end of that time, before the next session, that's before her first term in SS2, she said, Mommy, Daddy, I'm going into the arts. And I must let you know that every kind of phobia disappeared. As I speak with you now, she's the best in the arts. So, as parents, we must identify that. We mustn't push. We don't have to push these children. You must be a doctor. All of that can do what we talked about, family values. All of it can form a basis forward for academic phobia. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure talking about what I love doing. Thank you so much for this opportunity, Auntie Stella
Thank
and
you
team.
so much, Ma. We are very, very grateful. Mrs. Soboko, I don't think we have enough time, so over to you.
I really wished. Can I be heard? Can you hear me?
Yes, ma, but we
I
cannot see
really
Yes,
you.
wished. Can I be heard?
Yes,
yes,
ma,
we
but we
can.
cannot see
Okay,
you.
can you hear me now? All right.
Yes.
So I was trying to say that I really wish we had time for this. Um, God knows why. All things work together for good. This is
For
power
good.
packed. Thank you so much, Sister Tracy, for doing this. Parents, if you are here, please just go to the comment section. What have you learned? What are you taking home from this session? There is no child who is a dullard. There is no child who has all it takes to excel and who want to use it. So instead of blaming and shaming that child for not bringing back the A's, for not winning academic excellence awards, why don't we look deeper and find out what exactly is happening to that child at that time? Thank you so much shared. Unfortunately, we don't have much time because the next session is by 6 p.m. Please, if you have a question, please type in the comment section so that we can read it so she can answer. Sister Tracy, this is me asking you. This is something I know you are very good at. Can you hold master classes for parents, master classes for significant adults to come in, and listen more because this was done in a rush. And this is one area I know that a lot of parents are failing. If it's possible, that's me thinking. If it's possible to hold master classes, master session for parents
I
on
think
this
her
subject,
network. I
on
think
this
her
subject,
network threw her out.
is out. Okay. So while we wait for her, please, if you have a question, you have a comment, please put it in the comment section so that we can read it out and hopefully she comes back just before we close the session. Our next session is by 6 p.m. and we're having Uncle Dennis. It's okay. Come talk to us. I don't know if I can be seen. I don't even know which screen I'm using.
Yes,
Okay.
ma, I can see you and I can hear
All
you.
right. Questions? Do we have any questions? Do we have any comments so far? I like the fact she said validate emotions before solutions. Separate the child from the grades. Some of us have tied our love to our children's grades. So when they don't come home with the grades we want, we do things that are not heard of to that child. We talk down on them. Every opportunity we have to talk down on that child, we do it. If it is school now, you won't do well. If it's food, you will ask me for it. It's only food you know how to eat. Look at your grade. Just say things that are not. So separate the child from that grade. Explore other strengths. That child has strength in so many other things. It's not only in mathematics. So explore the child's other strengths and then seek professional support. Seek professional support is coming up how many times since we started no conference. If you have identified something about your child, seek professional support. I also like the parts you talked about collaborating with the school, with the class teacher. Don't think the school. I have had a lot of parents complain that the teacher is the problem, the school is the problem. I really don't think so. And also, schools, please train your staff, get training so that you can identify some of these things on time too, so that you don't keep losing students for things you can work on. I'm waiting for questions, and if you don't have any questions, um, please, how can we reach you, Sister Tracy? How can we? Oh, the network again. I wanted to ask her how we can reach her. Please, people, can we type in our comments or what did you learn? What did you gain from today's session? What did we gain? What did we learn from today's session? In the next 2 minutes, we should be closing this session. We have to close this session. Some of the root cause she said is perfectionism, high expectations of a child, negative past experiences, harsh criticism, and comparison. Please, let's stop comparing our children. Let's stop comparing our children, no matter what, especially when it comes to academics. Let's stop complaining. Learning disabilities, she talked about that. Why? Find that different learning disabilities. It's not only dyslexia. She was able to talk about dyscalculia, I hope I pronounced it well, dysgraphia, ADHD, and there are many more. That's why you need to seek for professional help, early intervention at all times. Once again, thank you everyone for being here. Our next session is by 6 p.m. Our next session is by 6 p.m. and we'll be talking about. Let me read out his. Let me read out his topic. Uncle Dennis will be speaking to us on understanding the new tech landscape. Understanding the new tech landscape, key innovations shaping today's world. So this is for both we parents and also for our children. So, and then by 9 p.m., sorry, by 8 p.m., sorry, and then by 8 p.m., we'll be having Charles Sonoha taking us on tech-driven career pathway, understanding emerging opportunities. If not for me, I would say listen for your children in these two sessions and also listen for yourself because there's so much you'll be gaining as an adult and then for your children. Once again, thank you everyone for being here. See you by 6 p.m. God bless you.